Welcome. When you first build a FastAPI app, everything fits neatly in one file. But as features grow, that single file becomes a bottleneck. In this video, we will look at how FastAPI's project structure conventions let you split your code into focus modules, keep things maintainable, and scale cleanly as your API grows. The typical starting point is a single main.py with every root, every Pydantic model, and every piece of business logic crammed together. This works fine for a tutorial, but the moment you add a second feature, say users and items, that file grows fast. Scrolling, merge conflicts, and accidental breakage become daily friction. You need a way to break things apart without losing FastAPI's simplicity. Think of a busy restaurant kitchen. A food truck works when you're serving 20 people, but when you're serving 200, one cook doing everything creates chaos. So you divide the kitchen into stations, each with its own crew and tools, and a head chef who knows how to bring every station's output together into one cohesive meal. That is exactly the mental model for a structured FastAPI project. FastAPI gives you a class called APIRouter. Think of it as a lightweight version of the main FastAPI app. It collects route definitions for one feature, but it does not run on its own. Each feature gets its own Python package, a folder containing its router, its Pydantic models, and any dependencies specific to that feature. Dependencies that are shared across features, like a database session or an authentication check, live in a dedicated shared module. Finally, main.py is where you create the FastAPI instance and register every router onto it. Start in shared/dependencies.py. The async function verify_token reads an X token header and raises a 401 if it is wrong. This is a reusable dependency any router can import. In item/models.py, we define a Pydantic base model called item with a name and a price. In item/router.py, we create an API router, giving it a URL prefix of /items, a tag for the docs, and verify_token as a router level dependency, meaning every route on this router will require a valid token automatically. The route decorator is at router.get rather than at app.get, but it works identically. Finally, in main.py, we create the FastAPI instance and call app.include_router, passing in the items router. That single call registers all of that router's routes onto the live app. When you call app.include_router, FastAPI walks through every route registered on that API router and adds it to the main application's route table, prepending the router's prefix to each path. Any dependencies declared on the router itself are prepended to each route's dependency chain, so they run before the route function executes. Because the routes are now part of the main app, FastAPI's automatic open API generation picks them up without any extra configuration. Your docs stay accurate as you add routers. Reach for modular structure when the project has genuinely distinct feature areas, when several developers are committing to the same repo, or when dependencies like authentication are shared across many routes. Skip it when you are building a quick prototype or an internal tool with fewer than 10 routes. The extra files and relative imports add indirection that slows you down before you benefit from the separation. Structure should follow actual complexity, not anticipated complexity. To recap, APIRouter lets you define routes for one feature in isolation, and include_router registers them all onto the main FastAPI app in a single call. Group each feature into its own package containing its router, its models, and its local dependencies. Anything shared across features, like authentication or a database session, lives in a dedicated shared module. And remember, structure is a tool, not a rule. Apply it when your project genuinely needs it.